In the previous video, I have determined the bond length of carbon monoxide from the spectral data. Now there I have given you a homework which was like that: why Gilliam chose the first line of the rotational spectrum instead of the other second, third or fourth line. Was it intentional or accidental? The answer is it was completely intentional, since the other lines will be erroneous, since the molecule is not rigid in reality. Carbon monoxide or whatever may be the molecule, they are not rigid. So when we take it to the excited state, it will start rotating, and upon rotation, since these two atoms have masses, this will create a centrifugal force which will act outward, and that will increase the bond length. So with increasing bond length, what will happen? I will change, which is mu r square. So B will change, and if B changes, the position of the spectral lines will change. Hence it is diplomatic, more scientific to consider the first line in the rotational spectrum, which corresponds to the transition 0 to 1, to have the information regarding the molecule. Since it starts from 0, so it will be devoid of the effect of centrifugal distortion. So this will give more correct result compared to the second and third. Now this non-rigidity and its effects will be rigorously discussed in the non-rigid rotor part, which will come soon. Now today's topic is intensities. Position has already been discussed. Today's topic is intensities of rotational spectral lines. As already discussed, intensities of any spectral line depends on three factors: path length of the sample, transition probability, and population of the initial level of transition. Now path length of the sample is assigned by the manufacturer of the spectrophotometric machine. Hence such dependency is ruled out in this case. Now before transition probability, we must check the selection rule associated with the transition. In case of rotational transition, the allowed transitions are del J equals to plus minus 1. That is 0 to 1 is allowed, 1 to 0 is allowed, 1 to 2 allowed, 2 to 1 allowed, 2 to 3 allowed, 3 to 2 allowed. These are all allowed. But del J equals to plus minus 2, plus minus 3, these are not allowed. That is from 0 to 2 or 1 to 3 or 3 to 0, these transitions are eliminated. As already discussed, I am repeating, selection rule is by no means arbitrary. It is a result of calculation of transition moment integral. That is, for the allowed case, it will be psi 1 mu psi 0 not equals to 0. So it will be allowed. And for the forbidden case, it will be like psi 3 mu psi 0, it will be equal to 0. It will not be allowed. Now for the allowed transitions associated with the rigid rotor, that is the transitions for which the transition moment integrals values are not equal to 0. More the value of TMI, more will be the value of probability of transition. The non-zero values guarantee that the transition will occur, and more the magnitude, more will be the transition probability. Now it is observed that all the allowed transitions from 0 to 1, from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, from 3 to 4 and so on are equally likely. Means there is no restriction from the transition probability. The values of the integrals are almost equal. Hence the transition probability from 0 to 1 is almost identical to that of the transition probability from 1 to 2 and from 2 to 3 and so on. In an assembly of molecules, there will be distribution of them in the various levels. Now since the intrinsic probabilities are identical, the line intensities will be directly proportional to the initial number of molecules in each level. Now the population is guided by the famous equation, Boltzmann equation. Boltzmann distribution governs the population of the levels. Now let N0 be the population of the ground state and Nj be the population of any of the excited state, say jth state. So its energy will be epsilon 0 and its energy will be epsilon j. Energy of the jth level will be epsilon j equals to b into j plus 1. We have studied it earlier. Now, as per the Boltzmann distribution, Nj by N0, it is Nj by N, that is total number of molecules, and there will be partition function in the denominator. So when we take two equations, one for J and one for the ground state, and then we divide them, then the total parameter will cancel out and we will get this relation. So it will be e to the power minus Ej, it will be in joule obviously, kT e to the power minus, here it will be E0 upon kT. Now we have to find the value of Ej. Relation between epsilon and E is epsilon into Hc. It is in centimeter inverse. So multiplying this by Hc, we will get the energy in terms of joule. So it will be Bhcj into j plus 1. This is the expression. So here we will write Bhc into j plus 1 upon kT. For the ground state, it will be 0. So it will be e to the power minus 0 upon kT. E to the power minus 0 upon kT means e to the power 0 means 1. So we will get Nj upon N0, the ratio of the population in the jth state to the ground state, is e to the power minus Bhc j into j plus 1 upon kT. So this is the general relation. Putting j equal to 1, we will get the ratio for the first excited state. Putting j equal to 2, we will get the ratio for the second excited state, and so on. Now let us find N1 by N0 for the first excited state to have an idea about the population of the initial level. E to the power minus B into H into C into 1 plus 1. We have to put J equal to 1 here. So it will be E to the power minus, this is 2. So 2BHC upon KT. Now let us take the example of carbon monoxide to find the value, to have an idea. So we will put E to the power minus. For 2B, it will be the energy of the first line corresponding to the first line. So for the carbon monoxide molecule that we will get from the previous video, it will be 3.84235 centimeter inverse. H means 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 27 arc second. 2B, H and C. C is 2.998 into 10 to the power. It will be 10 centimeter per second. Now we have K here. K means R by Na. So it will be 8.314 into 10 to the power 7 arc per mole per Kelvin by Na. So here it will be it will go to the numerator 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 mole inverse. It will go to the numerator, and say the temperature is 27 degrees centigrade. So it will be 300 Kelvin. Now if you calculate it carefully, including the dimension, you will get that the dimension will cancel totally, since exponential must be dimensionless. For example, if we try, see, arc will cancel out, this mole inverse will cancel out, this Kelvin will cancel out, and this second inverse will cancel out, and this centimeter inverse will cancel out. All gone. Now the value will be N1 by N0 equals to, if you calculate carefully, it will be 0.98. Means if there are 100 molecules in the ground state at equilibrium, 98 molecules will populate the first excited state. Not from that 100, 98 will come. It is not that case. If 100 molecules remain present in the ground state, then there will be another 98 molecules in the first excited state. And in this way, you will be able to calculate the number of molecules that will be present in the second excited state and for any other excited states. Now, since the gap is very less compared to the thermal energy of the system, the population is decreasing, but not by a significant amount. It is obvious that with increase in J, population must decrease. This equation reveals that. And also quantitatively we are getting the same thing, that with increase in J from 0 to 1, population is decreasing. But the fall is not rapid because of the lesser value of B. Now if we take a molecule which has a higher value of B, then the drop will be larger. Then it will fall more rapidly. Now if we try to have the spectrum, how it looks, if we plot intensity here and here we plot J, then see, for J equal to 0, what will happen? It will be e to the power 0. So it will be 1. So the graph will start from 1.0. It will start from 1.0. And since it is exponential, it will fall exponentially. Now for a higher value, say it is for B1. If we take another molecule having B2 greater than B1, then it will fall more rapidly. So this is our theoretical prediction. But what happens in reality is that the experimentally obtained spectra passes through a maxima, but it starts from 1.0. So how it looks, the experimentally obtained spectra, it starts from 1.0, but it passes through a maxima, then falls. So what have we missed? This is our theoretical prediction, but it is not matching with the experimental one. So it is coming in the next video. Please ignore the terms lecture 3 and lecture 4 that I have used in the successive 2 videos. Use earphone because of low quality of sound, and please watch it in 720 pixel since the successive 2 videos are year old.